Welcome into Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I'm Meghan Payton. Today we are talking Big Ben replacements. The time has come. We know and we knew that this was eventually going to be a topic that we have to dive into. And, we're not 100% sure that Big Ben's going to be leaving, but these rumors have been coming up. It really seems to be the case that Ben Roethlisberger is going to call it quits after this year. And I know that we've criticized him. You guys have criticized him. He has played, I'd say, kind of decent for his age. I mean, especially these last couple of games. He's at a 64.8 completion percentage, 2,758 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. But this happens with veteran quarterbacks. They are obviously going to not play as strong as what they once did, but we have to remember who Big Ben was. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback for the Steelers. There is no doubt about it. He has been such a legend for Pittsburgh. He will go down in history forever on this Steelers team, him and Mike Tomlin. And so I think it's important before we even get into the replacements, because yes, that's the inevitable. We need to talk about everything that Big Ben has done and has accomplished in his career, which is great. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's a 6-time NFL Pro Bowler, 6th all-time in passing yards, and 8th all-time in touchdowns. That's pretty impressive, guys. I mean, you can look at Big Ben right now. Look at what this season's looked like for him. I mean, he has a struggling offensive line. He's got key weapons that have been out due to injury, but he's a dominant quarterback. I will say, though, just like everyone, his time is coming to an end. It happens to all of them, and it's okay. And I think that Big Ben knows that it's okay. He knows that it's coming, and that's why I think that, these rumors that come out, they do this on purpose. They want people to get prepared. They want to let the story out, leak the story themselves. So great. I honestly think that's what happened with Big Ben. He's not going to talk about it himself, but I think he chose to let that rumor get out in order to prepare Steelers fans and allow them to know it's okay to start talking about replacements. And so before we get into draft, trades, all the other guys that the Steelers could bring in, I'm going to just go down memory lane, ask you guys, what was Big Ben's best season on the Steelers? This is our pinned comment today. Think back in time. This is where your age might show up in these comments. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to tell you what I think right after this break. All right, guys, we're getting into Big Ben replacements, but I am going to first say that I think 2015 was Big Ben's best season. Interested to hear what you guys think. Make sure you get your votes in, and I'll let you guys know if I agree or disagree with you. But it is time to move on from Big Ben. Who will the Steelers bring in to replace him? We're going to stick first with the guys currently in the league. So this would be a trade option. Aaron Rodgers. Sounds great in theory, right? One of the best quarterbacks to have ever played in the NFL. So far this year, still looking good. I mean, maybe not as strong as some of his other seasons, but a 66.2 completion percentage, 2,878 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Now, if you guys missed it earlier this season on the Pat McAfee show, we heard that he said he likes Mike Tomlin. Not a lot of guys like Mike Tomlin. What exactly does that mean? I think that it is interesting for him to go out and say that publicly, though. I think Aaron Rodgers definitely likes to stir the pot a little bit. We've heard trade rumors going on, not only this offseason, but even leading up into this regular season. I think Aaron Rodgers has made it clear that he's not extremely happy in Green Bay. Whether that's changed, we'll have to wait and see. So I am going to ask you guys, before I give you my thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, I want to know yours. Do you guys want Aaron Rodgers on the Pittsburgh Steelers replacing Big Ben? Go to the comments right now. Type Y for yes if you say, yep, let's go all in. Let's get Rodgers. Or type N for no if you're going to go ahead and pass. I'm going to pass on this one and say no. I think that the Steelers need a long-term guy. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers is not a fantastic quarterback. He's one of the best of all time. But Aaron Rodgers is 38 years old. He's probably not going to play for many more years. I don't think the Steelers are at a place right now where they'd even want to go all in for 1 year or 2 years. It doesn't make sense to me. They're going to have to give up so much for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who, yes, is amazing, but realistically won't be playing much longer. So I think that there's other options that would work better for the Steelers. Now, hey, if the trade landed in your hands and it was just perfect, why not? But it wouldn't be my top choice for Pittsburgh. So we're going to talk about more options here. The second one, before you guys get mad at me, I'm throwing Jimmy Garoppolo on here, all right? Now, the reason I'm throwing Jimmy Garoppolo on here is because his future in San Francisco is very unclear. You know, I feel like their GM, also with, how the Steelers approach this new quarterback shift, Jimmy Garoppolo might not be the worst option. Hear me out. So first, let's say in 2021, he's had a 66.8 completion percentage, 2,641 yards, 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Now, I know that this is not the most attractive option on the field. That's obvious. But what I'm thinking about is, hey, maybe the Steelers want to draft a guy. Maybe they're saying we want to put our hope into a future quarterback, someone in this 2022 NFL class. But maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy that you keep on the team, have him come in, sign a 1-year deal, stay on the Steelers, just as a guy that can help these rookies build up, because we're going to talk about this once we get into the draft class, but I don't know if you really want to put all of your eggs in the basket of just going with the rookie in week 1. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo could be a guy that helps out the first few weeks, or maybe even the whole first year. Now, we are going to get into draft class, and we still have more guys the Steelers can trade for. But as the holidays are coming up, guys, I'm telling you about a great deal over at Fanatics. If you go to chatsports.com/Steelers sale, there are a ton of Steelers items on sale. We've got beanies. We've got the Aaron Andrews hoodie, zip up that I've told you about. There's a great scarf glove combo. These are good stocking stuffers too. Now, the holiday sale is going to probably be ending soon. So obviously now's the time. Christmas is coming up. You've got this Darius Rucker vest. I believe it's going for like 25% off. And my favorite are the fluffy socks. I'm a big fluffy socks person, so these are fun. I know there's hats on there for like $5, like 85% off. There is a lot of Steelers gear out there, but it will not be out for long. There is things running out of stock. So go to chatsports.com/Steelers sale. Get your holiday shopping out of the way. All right, a couple more Big Ben replacements on the trade side of things. Deshaun Watson, have you guys forgotten about him? It's kind of hard not to, but he is back, obviously, in the talks of what's going to happen to Watson. Obviously, we have not seen him play in 2021. A ton of legal issues going on for him. But in 2020, very good, 70.2 completion percentage, 4,823 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Now, I'm not going to sit here and stand up for Watson and say that he deserves to be playing. I'm saying Watson still has to figure out his legal issues. They are not solved yet. And by the way, it might not be right for him to be in the NFL. If all this stuff comes up to be true, he's probably not going to be playing in the league. Now, I can have two separate emotions. I can say, hey, Watson might not be in the NFL and probably shouldn't be if this comes out true, but he is still a good quarterback, a great quarterback. And so we have to, kind of separate the two, knowing that if all of these reports happen to be false, I'm not saying that I think that they will be. Actually, I don't. But you've got to at least keep him in the talks. I do think that it's too much of a risk right now. That's why he hasn't gone anywhere. I'm telling you guys, if a team thought that he was going to have a chance at playing, or a strong chance at playing, he'd be on a team right now, or he'd be starting for the Houston Texans. There's a reason he's been at home, not playing at all. It's because no one wants to take the risk on Deshaun Watson. So I get it. I honestly think this is a video for a separate time, maybe for our Texans channel, but I just don't see Deshaun Watson staying in this. If he does not go to a team after this year, there's no way he's coming back to the NFL. That's my hot take on Deshaun Watson. But we're going to talk more Steelers because it is Steelers talk. We don't care as much about what's going on with his situation. So if you guys are not subscribed to Steelers Talk, now is the time, guys. We are here to provide you with nonstop updates, injuries, game recaps. We are talking playoffs. We're talking draft, a lot to come. So make sure you go to youtube.com/Steelers TV, click the big red button, whatever is easiest for you. All right, I've got one last trade option for the Steelers, and that is the guy we all love, Russell Wilson. Maybe some of you guys are upset with him these last few weeks. We've brought him up in some of our videos before, but to me, this would clearly be the best option if they were going to trade for a quarterback in the league right now. And the trade rumors continue to surround Russ leaving his 2022 landing spot very unknown. I think that, obviously he has struggled a bit coming back from that finger injury. That doesn't tell you anything about him as a quarterback, though, guys. It does take a bit. He's never missed any time prior to this season. If you watched the game last week against the 49ers, he looked a lot better. I think anyone would be out of their mind to say that they don't want Russell Wilson on their team. So the question really becomes, would Russ want to go to Pittsburgh? He has a lot of choices if he does decide to leave. Now, I don't know if he wants to leave. We talk about these trade rumors with Russell Wilson. It's just like Aaron Rodgers. It comes up. It came up last year. It's going to come up this year. And it's going to be a lot of internal conversations that we're not going to hear about. And then we'll end up finding out where he lands. Now, I do think that there is an issue with the offensive line situation in Pittsburgh. That's been Russ's biggest complaint, I'd say, in Seattle. And that's why they tried to hire Shane Waldron, offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, to help kind of rebuild that. It hasn't worked out fantastic for them. Obviously, we know the Steelers' offensive line has been struggling a bit. So it's a little bit of a risky situation, but I'd say take Russ. If you can get Russell Wilson, I would love to see him replacing Big Ben next year and taking on the role of the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. But I will ask you guys this. Name me a quarterback that you would want the Steelers to trade for. Right now, we're still talking trades, so get your votes. And it doesn't have to be one of the guys I mentioned. If there's another quarterback in the league that you would like to be the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, go ahead and let me know in the comments. All right, we are moving on to the draft because, hey, the Steelers are most likely, I think, going to need to draft a quarterback in this year's draft. Now, the options, we've said, not as amazing as they've been in the past years, but they're not terrible. You've got Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. He's probably the number one guy right now. Malik Willis, Liberty, Kenny Pickett, we've heard a lot about him. We're going to talk more about him. Carson Strong from Nevada, and Sam Howell from UNC. So a guy that I'd say is probably at the top rumors list for Steelers quarterback would be Kenny Pickett. So let's look what he's done in 2021. He has a 67.2 completion percentage, 4,319 yards, 42 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Now, I'm not saying this is a fantastic, perfect solution for the Steelers, but I will say that I like Pickett joining this team. There are problems that come along with him, and I'd say it's going to be similar problems, honestly, to what the Steelers are dealing with now. He plays very similar to the way this Steelers offense is set up. He's not a great deep passer. He does have good composure. I just don't think that his arm strength is maybe as strong as the Steelers would like it. So I wonder whether or not, hey, is it good to bring in a guy that knows this system, plays very similar, or do you want a guy like Malik Willis? Malik Willis has not been as consistent as we'd like to see. 61.6 completion percentage, 2,626 yards, a total of 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. So now we go back to the similar style of play. So if you go with Kenny Pickett, he's going to have more of the similar style to what the Steelers are used to. If you go with Malik Willis, it's going to be a little bit different. So which approach would you guys like the Steelers to go with? That's where the big debate comes in. And it doesn't have to be these two guys, but these 5 guys are really the only ones you'd probably want. I mean, as of now, the only guys you'd probably want taking on a role for Big Ben. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, pick a quarterback of your choice. You've got Matt Corral from Ole Miss, type 1 for him, type 2 for Malik Willis, type 3 for Kenny Pickett, type 4 for Carson Strong, or type 5 for Sam Howell.